Good evening, good evening. How you doing today? We are live. Yes. My name is Crystal Bodie Smith. I thank you so much for joining me. We are going to have a conversation tonight and we're going to talk to some people. And it's not a conversation that we like to talk about, but it's definitely a conversation that we need to talk about. So we're going to have this conversation tonight. I'm going to invite my guest into the room. Get them in here. Thank you so much for joining me. We wanted to be on time with this. Yes, I do see one of our people in the room already. And we're going to get started as soon as I get all of my guests here. Once again, my name is Crystal Bodie Smith, and we're going to have this conversation tonight. I have a couple of ladies that are going to join me, and we will get started once we have them all here. I'm looking for Miss Anita Missy Wright to come on and join us. I'm going to have Miss Jocelyn Ellison join us tonight, and Dr. Jonica Rowland. Once again, my name is Crystal Bodie Smith, and I host a show. Miss Missy, send me a request. Send me the request, and then you can join. But sometimes it says you can't join, so you have to send me the request. Go ahead and send me the request to join, and then I can add you to the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, my guests are showing up, and I'm adding them right now. And I don't know what that means when I see it says you can't join, so let me do this. Let me try it this way. I think it does that if you're not here yet. That might be what it is. It might give me that notification. Once you come in the room, let me know you're here. And once you get here, then you can join the conversation. All right? Jocelyn, do you see the request? All right, Miss Anita, send me the request so you can join the room. I do see that you're here. Okay? Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on. Missy, I want you to come on in here first. I definitely need you to come on here. You're the reason why I'm doing this. All right? You should see a request to join, so go ahead. And I don't see your name popping up there yet, but it will tell me when you are connecting, and I don't see it yet. Jocelyn is telling me you can't join for some reason. I don't know if you did something different this time than you did before. All right. Missy, send me a request to join the room. I don't see any requests right now, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to get us all in here so we can get started. I'm trying to get everybody in the room so we can get started. You have to send me a request. All right. Well, hopefully, if it's not letting you, I need you to, I don't know what the deal is from your phone, but it needs to be able to let you connect with me. All right? Let's see what happens now. I just sent it to you. I don't see Dr. Jonica. Okay, I got one person. Yes, let's make sure we get positioned good in the camera so we got you right in the middle of that camera so we can see you, so we can see your whole head. You got 1 out of 3. We want to see that pretty ball you got on your head, too. You got the nice design. Let's see that. So come down some. Set the camera down so we can see it. Like, come the other way. Go the other way. Keep going a little bit more. And back up. Go back a little bit. There you go. Now, there you go. And you'll notice when we are all in here, then it will change. Okay, I see Jonica. All right, Jonica, let me get you in here, too. I got 2 out of 4. I'm waiting for the other 2. All right. Miss Jonica, I just sent you a request. Missy, all right. Got Dr. Jonica in the room. Just waiting for Missy. Missy, come on in the room and we'll get started. Got 3 out of 4, y'all. We got 3 out of 4. Thank you so much for joining us. Y'all, we want to go ahead and we want y'all to go ahead and hit that arrow on the bottom of your phone and begin to send this out to people so that they could join the conversation once we get everybody in here. But let me get Missy in here first. Once we get Missy in here, then we can do it. Dr. Jonica, I see your background, so I know you're connected, so that's good. All right. And can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay, guys?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. All right, Missy, I'm waiting on you. Waiting on you, Missy. Got to make sure you got a connection because it's saying you're not unable to join. So I need you to be able to come from, try a different device. All right. Dr. Jonica, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I didn't see your face in the camera, so I'm just making sure. I'm waiting for Missy to be able to get in. I have 3 out of 4. My main guest, I'm waiting for her. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are coming to you to have a conversation. You know, we wanted to have a conversation about suicide. It's not a conversation that we really want to talk about, but it's a necessary conversation. So before we get started, I'm just going to tell you a little bit. I'm Crystal Bodie Smith. I'm your host. I'm your Hope Catalyst, your voice of change. And I wanted to bring people together today so we can have a discussion about what just happened recently that we all are aware of with the former Miss USA. And it was very, very shocking. And then also with Miss Regina King and her son. So it's been a lot going on here lately, and we wanted to have this discussion. I do have a mother that is coming on, and her daughter committed suicide as well, and she's having difficulty. I'm waiting for her to get. I need you to come on. I know you're here, but I need you to come in. I need you to connect. It's not letting you connect. You got to join. Look at the button on the bottom and join. Click to join. All right, so that you can come up and join us. Missy, I need to see you. It's going to be 4 of us up here in the box. So look for it and push the button so you can join. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let these other ladies introduce themselves while we wait for our 4th guest to come on in. And so we're going to start. We have a young lady who has a background in business and finance, and she also has a background in insurance. We wanted to have that conversation from the insurance side because with suicide, there's some things that can and cannot happen when it comes to insurance. So I'll just let her tell you just a little bit about her background, a little elevator pitch right quick, and then we have Miss Jocelyn Ellison, which I met earlier on my segment, and I'm so excited because of her background. So if you ladies don't mind, I would like for you to just do that. Anita is saying you can't join Missy, so you might have to switch so that you can come in, go out, and then come back in and see if it lets you come in. If not, you might have to try another device. I'm not sure what's happening, but I'll send you another request. Maybe go out and come back in, and that'll let you do it, okay? We'll start with you, Dr. Jonica. I don't see you. I see your picture. I don't see you.
Hey,
You're getting all pretty and ready for us.
Yes, we have to get a little exercise in. I'm grateful that the show is going on. Yes. Well,
Okay.
I am Dr. Jonica Rowland. That's JT Rowland. Had to keep the T in the honor of my father who passed away in 2018. Lost my brother and father 60 days apart. And so I read enough insurance policies, including my own and my family, and sold enough to been to more funerals than the average person. Yeah, so I let that sink.
All right. And Miss Jocelyn, tell us a little bit about your background, please.
In for a minute, okay?
Okay, you go ahead. You faded out on us. Are you okay over there? Is something going on over there?
Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine over here. Did my picture fade away? Okay.
It's for a quick second, and our 4th guest is coming in now, so that's good. Go ahead, Miss Johnson.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to be here again. Imagine someone outside a funeral director being to as many funerals as I have, and it's just so important to make sure we read fine print and clauses. Okay. I started in this insurance industry in 2005 and then navigated into being a business and financial consultant so that I can help people move further along in the process with their legacy planning and careers and business. And in regards to moving forward along in the process, many people do not have insurance and other benefits because of the simple fact that they don't trust anyone. And this is the month that we, America, Crystal, thank you, are focusing on suicide prevention. And parents, sometimes they feel guilty when situations happen. But when we've done all we know we can do, we have to move forward. And in regards to prevention, a lot of people just don't know who to trust. And I was looking at some statistics, noticing that in 2020, many people thought that,
yeah. So hold on one moment. I don't want you to go too far. Right now, we're just doing introductions. We're just going to do introductions. Welcome, Miss Missy. Thank you. Give us a little bit more light, Missy. We need a little bit more light around you. If you can give us some more light so we can see your beautiful face. We definitely need a little bit more light over there for you. If you can give us an introduction, Jocelyn, and while Missy is getting herself together, and then we'll come back to her for her introduction.
Okay. My name is Jocelyn Glover Ellison. I am a clinical mental health professional. I have my master's in clinical psychology, and I have worked with adults and teenagers and young children who have attempted suicide, have suicide ideations, and so I'm familiar with the suicide pathway. So that's my background.
Okay, and then we have Miss Missy Wright. I'll let her introduce herself as well. And she is also founder of the Forever My Asia organization. And Miss Wright, welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties over here, so I do apologize for in and out. But like Ms. Bodie said, my name is Anita Williams Wright. They call me Missy. I am the mother of the late Asia Sade Bobbitt. My daughter died of suicide. I don't say she committed suicide because you commit crimes, you commit other things, and suicide is not a crime. So I say my daughter died of suicide. When my daughter passed away, 8 months into me grieving, I started advocating for suicide awareness and prevention. So I go from state to state bringing awareness. I do a lot of walks since the pandemic started. I haven't been doing too much. I just started back doing community events, doing walks, going to schools, talking to kids, talking to adults, making myself available for whoever need me. So I just do a little bit of everything with mental health.
Well, we want to thank you so much because first and foremost, we definitely still want to give you our condolences. It doesn't matter how many years it's been, it's still a loss of a child. And I want to tell you that I'm super proud of you for taking on this assignment to educate other people about this process because you didn't have to do that at all. So I know that one of the things that I like to hear from you is going to be along the lines of what you could say to other parents to maybe help them to have a little bit more communication, to maybe not have to be in this predicament. If there's any kind of red flag or anything that when you think back now that you can use on hindsight that you would share. Dr. Jonathan Rowland, with your insurance background, one of the things I would like for you to touch base on when we come to you is going to be what happens if a person commits suicide when it comes to insurance. In case people don't understand about that coverage piece of it, if it's going to be something that can be covered. And then, of course, Ms. Jocelyn in the top right corner with the clinical background, since you dealt with people who have attempted this from a clinical standpoint, anything that you can share to help us to help individuals that may be thinking this way, we can start there. So first, I'd like to start with you. We're going to call you Missy. So this is Missy in the bottom right corner. For those of you who are just coming in the room, Missy is the mother of the late Asia Bobbitt, as she said. who died of suicide. And then in the bottom left corner is Dr. Jonica Rowland. And on the top is Ms. Jocelyn. I will have some housekeeping rules. If you are not speaking and you have some kind of noise or something, we'll ask that you mute yourself so that therefore we won't hear the noise. If you can, we want everybody to make sure you have enough light so we can see you. So just make sure that light is facing you. Missy, I need a little bit more light facing on you. I see that beautiful picture of Asia behind you, but I need to see you a little bit more so we can see you. And then the other thing is, what happens is there's a box on the bottom with a question mark. If anyone has a question, you can put a question in the box, and we'll be happy to answer your question if we can. And right now, everyone, if you will, in the far right corner, there's an arrow. Take a moment and just share this live by hitting it to your people, to your followers. Hit share, because this is something important. People share lives about artists, about new movies, about new sneakers. This is something that needs to be shared. So let's take a moment and share. And lastly, if you're in here, thank you for joining us. Let us know where you're coming in from. Put your name and your state in the comments, and we're going to get started. So, Missy, if it's okay, I'm going to call everybody first name. From a parent perspective, with hindsight, what would you say to any parent today to give them some kind of, for them it's going to be foresight on what to look for, knowing now what you know, what could you tell them?
I get this question a lot. And that's a question that no parent can answer. A therapist can't answer that. A doctor can't answer that. You know, every child is different. Every situation is different. My daughter, she was a freshman in college. I never had a problem. Well, probably 2 problems out of her whole life. So Asia wasn't a problem child. Asia wasn't a child that had suicide or mental health issues. So she went to Bennett College, and she came home for the Thanksgiving break. A couple of days later, you know, she took her life. So I can't really, I feel personally, there's nothing that you can really, it's some people have signs and some people don't. It's like high blood pressure to me. That's the way I describe it. It's a silent killer. You know, some kids, the behaviors change. If your child is quiet and they stay to themselves, some people say that's a sign of depression. That's a sign of mental health. But Asia always been that girl that stayed to herself and always was quiet. You know, actually, your daughter was her teacher, and her senior year of high school at Word of God school. She went to private school. She went to Catholic school in New York. So, you know, were there signs? When I think back, the last week of her passing, you know, the different conversations that we had, I may say that was signs, but I can talk to a parent right now and say, if you have this conversation with your child, they may be thinking about taking their lives. That's unfair. You see what I'm saying? So I personally can't answer that question, only because there's so many different signs, and sometimes there's not a sign, you know?
I can respect that. Let me ask you that from a clinical standpoint, Ms. Jocelyn, because you can explain to me what clinical means and what exactly you do and what your experience is. What would you say to that same question?
Each individual, like Missy said, each individual is different. There can be signs, but a parent may not be able to pick up. Friends may not be able to pick up on those signs. And some people can be depressed, but they can be functionally depressed, where you can't tell that they're depressed. They're not laying on the couch. They're not staying in the house. They're going to work. They're going to school. And it's true that if they don't want you to know, they won't tell you. Some people can present as happy and carefree, or, you know, with no signs of distress. go home and then kill themselves. It just depends on the individual. It depends. And from a clinical standpoint, we as clinicians, you know, it's totally different from being in a family or even a school setting, because, you know, clinicians, we're trained to do assessments. We are trained in psychopathologies. We do assessments, so then we can, based on what the client is willing to share with us. But what if they don't share everything? What if all they do is present as, you know, happy, or, you know, things are going well with me? You can ask questions, but if they don't answer the questions, they don't answer the questions. They can lie on their assessments. So it just depends on if that person is in a place where they choose to get help, or if they choose not to get help. They may feel that there is no hope. I feel helpless. I feel out of control. I don't feel that I can go on. And other people can look at someone and say, you know, you have a nice life. You have this, you have, you know, friends, you know, you have a great family, your grades are good in school, but inside that person is dying. So it really just depends, and you really can't always tell when someone's in distress.
And I know that Jonica, from an insurance perspective, can you talk a little bit about how that works? Is suicide covered when it comes to insurance?
In many policies, suicide is covered. It's covered after a certain period of time. Some policies do not cover suicide or acts of war, of anything of that nature, pandemics. However, if you have full disclosure and you look in your policy and ask the right questions, because there are suicide clauses in the policy. If someone dies or commits suicide from 1 to 2 years, within 2 years, they may not be covered. But on that 24th month, day one, which would be the 25th month, there's possibility that the insurance will cover the deceased. And the thing is that that's why we have to really start early and review our policies every year to make sure certain clauses are covered.
So let me ask you this, Jonica.
Can I say something, Crystal? Crystal?
Yes. Go ahead.
Now, because the numbers are outrageous, now they are covering suicide in the policies now. Before, a lot of policies was not covering suicide, but being that the numbers is the 10th leading cause of death right now. So, you know, when Asia died, it was number 7, you know, and in 2019, attempts of suicide, you know, so 2019, 50,000 people died of suicide. So the numbers are changing. Wow. A lot of laws are changing with mental health.
Yes. Well, I've been in insurance since 2005, so many of those older policies did not have suicide covered, but most
and that's because nobody want to talk about it. You know, like you right. A podcast now, great. People into something happened tragically, like it has to take for a celebrity to pass away for some people to talk about it.
And I know, Missy, you're cutting in and out, so I don't know if it's the section that you're sitting in, because I don't hear you right now. We can't hear anything if you're talking.
Well, being an African-American woman, the policies I sold and still sell, I made sure certain clauses were in the policies, okay? I made sure that if someone was incarcerated, I had a policy to sell them on that. If someone smoked marijuana, I have a policy to sell on that. So I guess it's the company and who is doing the representation. And I'm here to represent women and minorities. Okay, I've been in the industry since 2005. Don't want to dispute that. Suicide has never been covered But just as with any other illness, if it's disclosed on the policy that someone has a certain illness, or they fail to check off certain boxes that say they had an illness, the insurance company has a right to contest that within a 2-year period. After a 2-year period, it all is all based on the policy, whether it's suicide, as they would say, we wouldn't say gang banging, but a criminal activity, no matter who it is. If it's before 2 years, the insurance company will most likely not cover it. And if they suspect suicide, they have a right to take their time to investigate before they release that claim.
Okay, I don't know if it's IG today because I'm hearing a lot of breaking up, but I'm hoping that it's clear to the audience. If somebody could type in the audience and just say, yes, it's clear, we sound okay. Jonica, I want to ask you one more thing, then I'm going to go back to Jocelyn and come back to Missy. I just want to ask you, honesty sounds like it's important. I heard you say if they answer the right questions. I guess there's a time when people would kind of tell a lie about things because they didn't think they would get the coverage. Would you say that now there's pretty much something out there for every condition where people can just about get insurance regardless of what the situation is, so they should be honest? Would you say that?
Yes. There are plans out there that may not necessarily be insurance plans. They could be burial plans, or they could be funeral assistance plan. There is something out there basically to cover everyone. And for those who are having a hard time getting insurance, parents, senior citizens, and others, they may have whole life policies. And if they don't have the cash flow, they may be able to borrow from the policies to go ahead and help to cover the funeral to relieve some of that financial stress. But the biggest thing is the earlier someone gets it, the more affordable it is, and then they can have more insurance and what they afford more insurance at an earlier age than what they could at an older age. But the biggest thing is, even if the insurance agent fill out the policy, make sure you trust them that they're recording what you do. I have a link now where everyone can just fill out their own insurance policy and be responsible for checking off the boxes and giving full disclosures as the insurance company is supposed to. However, there comes time where insurance agents, they may think they're helping someone, but when someone passes within that 2-year period, that's a problem. I had a person I could not help in my earlier years because I was new to the game in 2005. But however, another insurance agent was able to, got her a policy, and she passed away before the 2 years was up because of lupus. And
wow.
So being able to check the correct boxes and make sure we do follow up our due diligence. Trust is the main reason why some people do not have insurance. And reviewing that policy every year, have a trusted insurance agent or a consultant such as myself or an advisor to help you review your policy if you don't understand it. And every policy, there's a clause in there basically regarding every condition. It's basically a glossary, a dictionary. If you don't understand those words or the terms, look in that glossary. Look in the terms. They may call it the terms section. It may be a glossary. Look in there and read what they mean about that 2-year contestability period. Read the suicide clause. Read the act of war clause. Read the pandemic clause. Let's just read.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. Now, Missy, I'm going to come back to you. You work now with the suicide awareness and do everything, and you go around. What are some of the resources if parents are watching this, or if there's a child right now watching this, or anybody who's watching this and they're feeling like they need to talk to somebody? Could you kind of tell people where they can go? Is there something out there? Is there phone numbers they can call? Is there local places they can go to? What kind of resources out there are there for people if they don't want to go to their family, but they just need help and they want to talk to somebody?
You could pin this, Ms. Bodie, at the bottom, 1-800-273-TALK. Suicide, the awareness hotline number. They also have a text number because they know a lot of young people like to text. So in 2019, I was part of one of many that went to the legislators building and protest because they wanted to take that 1-800 number away from the college students. They said they didn't have enough funds. So we stood out there. We talked to legislators. We walked around, marched around the building. We didn't leave until, they said, okay. They didn't tell us right then and there, but we made a lot of noise, and I'm part of that bill. And I thank God that I was able to be out there, in memory of my daughter. So a lot of parents, what I could tell a parent, a friend, a husband, a wife, a sister, brother, cousin, uncle, or aunt, just listen. A lot of people talk, but a lot of people don't listen. And if you just take a second and listen to your loved one, you will hear something that they're saying. A lot of times a person, it's a saying that says, when you ask a person how they doing, they say, well, it don't matter because nobody, want to listen. Nobody care, but somebody need to listen. And had I, listened to my daughter when she was talking, because she was talking, I heard her, but I wasn't listening. I'm not going to say she will still be here, because I honestly believe that her death was ordained. Nobody could tell me this is how I feel. Ordained from God. It was her time. And I helped thousands of people since my daughter passed away. I didn't ask for this platform. God gave it to me, and he's helping me through it. He's walking side by side, in front of me, behind me, and just giving me strength that I never, ever thought I would have as a mother, to lose her daughter. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy to me. It's my daughter, but that was the way that God said she had to go. And a lot of her friends that was battling with mental health got help. A lot of teachers came to me and said, I was on the edge. People that I would never believe that's to this day on medication came and said, hey, I'm on medication, I've been battling. And I'm like, you and you too, and and it was just like a comfortable, I won't say a comfortable community, but it's a loving community. I don't want nobody to be here with me, but in this community, we love each other, and like I was telling Miss Bodie, that I do a lot of things, but I don't put it on social media, because being an advocate for mental health is so sensitive. You wanna put it on social media because you want people to know that you're working, you're doing the Lord's work, you're doing what God wants you to do. But then it's that other side of you. It's like it's confidential. You have to. They're already battling. You don't want the people to be looked down at, or people to talk bad about them, or they feel like, because depression is real. Any little thing could take a person off and push them over the edge. So I try to be so private, and things that I can talk about or let Facebook see, or Instagram, and I don't mean to, run on. And I hope I answered your question about the 1-800 number. Is a text number. Anybody, my Facebook is Missy Williams Wright. You could talk to me. They call me, my kids say that I'm I forgot the word they call me because I never sleep. But I see my daughter on here. Say what y'all be saying about me, Nighthawk or something, like, I forgot what it's called. But anyway, I never sleep. But you can Facebook me. My come in the inbox. My phone number is 919-538-7224. You can call me. You can text me. Whatever. I'm here for anybody that need me. Sometimes a person just wants you to listen. They don't want you to say nothing. They don't want you to solve a problem. And my daughter, in her last 8 hours of living, she told her boyfriend that that she wanted to kill herself. Said in a text message about 50 times. And of course, if your loved one or, tell you they're going to kill themselves, sometimes you think it's attention-seeking behavior, but take those signs serious. When somebody tell you that they want to kill themselves, take it serious. Take it if they telling you somebody's in their house with a gun to their head, because you really never know who's about to go over the edge,
Right. Right. I
Yeah.
thank you for that, because I know it's not easy for you to do that. And I appreciate you sharing your phone number, sharing your Facebook, and opening yourself up to this, because that's why God is going to continue to protect you and cover you. Let me ask you a question, Jocelyn, and give Missy a couple of minutes to gather herself. From a clinical standpoint, she talked about the privacy, and she talked about all that. What are some things that you can tell people to let them know the reasons why they should seek that therapy, and what the difference is between therapy and the different levels that are out there for them?
Well, in not providing therapy, but from an informational standpoint, is people have to come to the point where they're comfortable sharing what their personal journey, sharing their emotional pain. Some people don't feel that they have anybody. They don't feel any self-worth. They don't feel like people want to hear what they have to say. Sometimes people will say, I'm tired of living. I don't want to be here. Life is too hard. And sometimes, like Missy said, people don't take it serious. They blow it up. Oh, girl, you just talking. You don't really mean that. And the effect that can have on somebody is that may be the day that they really need someone to focus and be present with them. But then it's like, once again, I'm devalued. Once again, I'm overlooked. Once again, I am made to feel invisible. Nobody cares about me. No one sees me. No one hears me. I'm screaming for help, but it's falling on deaf ears. So what's the point?
Wow.
Or when a person is ready to come to a therapist, a social worker, a counselor, they want help. They know that they're on the edge, and they don't want to die. They want help because they're telling someone. A lot of times you have people who don't tell anyone. They just feel, I'm at the end. I'm just going to do it. And some people say, oh, they were so selfish, they killed themselves. They're not selfish, because it's not about you. It's about what that person was going through.
Yes.
It's about what that person feels. And bereavement for someone who has died from suicide is different from other types of bereavement, because there's that survivor's guilt, right? I wrote a couple down. Do you mind if I share them?
No. Go ahead.
Some of it is the relationship you had with the person. Like Missy, that's her child. The thought is, I'm always going to go before my child. That's a parent's thought, right? A parent never wakes up and says, today I'm going to outlive my child. And having to come to terms with that is really, really hard. Then it's how that person died. Did they take pills? Did they jump off a building? Did they jump in front of a train? Did they commit suicide by police? And then it's that parent, that's that loved ones, the physical and the emotional response to that person's death. There's this why and what loop. Why did it happen? What could I have done? 99.9 times there's nothing you could have done. You may have maybe postponed it because you talked to this person. They've gone to therapy, but then they just decide one day, I'm done. It's their choice. As hard as that is, especially in the Black community, to come to grips with someone killing themselves, making that conscious decision that I'm ready to do this. The stigma from family, your social group, the community, it's horrendous. I haven't personally experienced, but from a clinical standpoint and just as a fellow human being, you can kind of like imagine having that empathy, putting yourself in that parent or whoever's place and just saying how horrible. They're already dealing with a death, but then you have all this extra stuff, all this external stuff coming at them in addition to their own personal turmoil, their own emotional pain, and suffering. You have all this, everybody else's crap, right? And there's a lack of privacy. Everybody want to be in your business. Everybody's asking, hey, why did they do this? What happened? You don't want to have to deal with all of that mess, right? And then you have the investigation that kind of like delves into what was their life like? What was going on with I don't know.
I like it. That was good. I didn't mean to cut you off, but two things. Jonica, when I come to you, I want you to talk about, there may be some people that are hearing this and maybe they don't have insurance. Maybe they haven't been able to budget insurance in because they don't think they can afford it. I want you to address that and just give them a couple ideas about what to go look for in their situation. Missy, she said something I want to come to you about. People sometimes, when these things happen, they come and they ask them too many questions. What happened? Mm-hmm. Would you say that people need to tread lightly when something like this happens? Don't be asking too many questions. Just come and show support. Would you say that's true? Instead of people coming and trying to figure out the details, they don't need to come asking no questions. They just need to come and see what they can do to help the family. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a different type of person. It don't bother me. People are just nosy by nature. People ask you the craziest questions about everyday life. So, me, I'm an open book. So it didn't bother me. I work in a school. I had kids tell me that their parents, they said, Miss Wright. I said, yes. They raised their hand, Miss Wright. I'm like, yes. Yeah, yes, Michael. And Michael will say, well, my mommy told me that your daughter went to hell because she killed herself. Kids are honest. They say the darnest things. They are very honest. So,
wow.
That's a part of life.
Yes.
When we was growing up, I'm in my 40s, but I do remember hearing, if you take your life, you're not going to heaven. So some people believe that. So when somebody said, well, how your daughter died? A lot of people ask, because when Asia died, it was all over the news. So many people died of suicide, but it was something about Asia. This girl was bright. This girl was working, side by side with me in the community. She was always studious. She was, a great person. So, yes, I would want to know what happened to that pretty young girl that always had a smile on her face. And when you seen her mom, you seen her. And, she loved kids. She loved life. She was full of life. What happened? So that don't bother me, because I'm happy that somebody, that want to know about my daughter. Her legacy lives that way, So that's just me. And I do understand privacy, but it didn't bother me, if I answered your question.
And you are keeping her legacy alive, and I commend you for that. Mm-hmm. And I'm still coming to you, Jonica. I have to ask you this, Missy. When the news came on the other day, and we found out about the former Miss USA, what was the first thing that came to your mind when you heard that?
Well, before I seen it on the news,
or when you heard about it?
Yeah. Well, when Pastor Phil inboxed me texted me about 2 a.m. He might be here watching, I don't know. And he said, we got to do something. And he says, he always saying that I'm doing a good job and everything like that. He's one of my mentors. And I was like, what happened? Like, I didn't know what he was talking about. So he sent me the attachment, and then it didn't open. And then I went to Facebook. This is 2 a.m. And I had so many messages that people was kind of, saying, hey, Asia was pretty, this girl was pretty. I didn't understand the whole concept, what they was
Oh,
just putting,
wow.
saying, oh, they're so beautiful, like why? And then a lot of people feel like because a person is pretty, Asia had green eyes, she was a pretty girl, that why would she kill herself? Looks, mental health don't have a look. It doesn't have a face.
Wow.
And then they looked at Miss America, and so I don't know. I had so many different emotions because of all the messages that I was getting from different people. And I'm like, well, what do looks have to do with? I didn't say that to the people.
Right.
Some I answered, some I just gave a heart to or whatever. But I don't know. It was different emotions. And I really thought about Asia a lot. That opened up a room. I even, cried a little bit. To be honest, I got depressed.
Yeah.
I got depressed, and it,
Yeah, it was a lot. So listen,
yeah.
I just want everybody on this live right now watching. There's 12 people. I want you to look up to the top and see that arrow and then see her name. And I want you to say her name tonight. If I have any believers on here, if I have any Christians on here, you make sure you say Anita Missy Wright's name tonight. Please pray for her. Because you see, she is being called on by the community when these things happen. And every time this happens, she has to relive this all over again. And she is serving because she has a servant's heart, but she's still human. So I want you to make sure you pray for her. So we're going to give her a moment to gather her thoughts. Jonica, to the person who's watching this, they don't have the insurance. They think they don't have the money. People say they can't afford it. I say they can't afford it, not you. What do you say to that person, and where do they need to look? What do they need to do to get something? If they have small imprints, if they have a child, if they have an illness, what is your take on that?
Okay, I'm going to be a little harsh. Procrastination hurts. It really hurts, okay? Real quick, my mom was murdered when I was 10 years old. And so when you're smart, like Asia or the attorney or whatnot, you kind of escape into your books. And at that time I played the flute and piccolo, so nobody really knows what's going on in your life. And then you go off to college. People are mean in college. I don't care if it's HBCU or predominantly white university, okay? And so I heard about the counseling center, and I went there, and I got all the counseling I need, and more, because I took advantage of it. And you just didn't know who to trust. So I tell everyone right now, our young adults, sometimes they're on the edge. I used to be on the edge a lot, and I'm grateful that I was able to press through it, okay, because a lot has happened. And they're on the edge. So if they say they don't want to talk, I just believe the words "I love you, I love you, I love you" can help a lot. And
yeah,
and hopefully no parents had to suffer that, but I did have the opportunity to see my grandmother lose my mother, and my son losing 3 college friends before he graduated, and get to see their mothers, and it's a hurtful thing. So please do keep Missy in prayer, because people say time heals, but there are triggers, there are birthdays, and there are other things that comes along, okay? Because my brother suffered PTSD from my mom's loss, so we had much to deal with, and we lost him at age 50. And it was a heart attack, and we'll leave it at that. And so in regards to having insurance, you have to have something if you're in your 20s or younger, $10 a month, $20 a month. That's something you can pay for the whole year. And make sure you keep up with your checking accounts, okay? Your debit card, if you change it, let's change these things. A lot of people don't have insurance because of the simple fact that the payments were missed. And insurance companies, they give you a 30-day grace period. So if you get that term insurance, remember, you have a 30-day grace period to go ahead and get that insurance reinstated. And then if you're waiting or beyond those 30 days, it's a possibility you get more. But that 2-year clause starts over and over.
Wow.
You cancel a policy, you miss
Wow.
a payment, it's gone. Your new age, the policy goes up because of your age. Ooh, someone have health problems. The policy premiums go up because of the health problems. And that 2 years start over and over and over again. For those of you who have term insurance, look and see if you have a conversion privilege where you can convert that policy to a whole life or another permanent insurance so that it can go beyond 80 years, because those 10, 20, 30 years, once they're up, if you're older, which you will be, if the health is bad, you're going to have to pay more for the next policy. And who's to say you may have the money then? Okay, all the job losses and whatnot, people's salaries decreasing, people wanting to have their own businesses. Let's just have these things in place. So if there's a gap between employment, you have it in place. So for those who keep saying buy term, invest the rest, that's not something you tell a minority, okay? When do they have time to work 2 or 3 jobs and go figure out how to invest the rest, okay? And then they pass away and they leaving a little investment when they could put a little money to have a larger insurance policy so that maybe the grandchildren or the children can go to college or do something. Let's give our children a fighting chance, okay? And so if you're older, you may want that whole life policy. It's nothing wrong with having 1 or 2 policies. Let's just get started somewhere, okay? Let's get started somewhere, because procrastination hurts. It hurts. And make sure you look in that policy and determine whether or not it's going to cover suicide, criminal activity.
Whatever it is they have.
Literally not cover criminal activity, but look into it to see what it covers. Children going off to the military. Let's see if it covers act of war, okay?
Wow.
But this is Suicide Prevention Month, okay? And with me, I think a lot, I sit a lot, I don't have no problems with daydreaming, dreaming and all that, because every month is a new month to me, okay? I'm grateful to be out of depression and grief from losing relatives so close together. But the thing is your responsibility. If you say you love someone, it's your responsibility to get the insurance, okay? And it's your responsibility to ask for help. You need help, you gotta trust someone. And so many people don't have things because they can't trust. People just talk too much.
Dr. Jonica, let me actually put your information down there. Now, this month is not Suicide Prevention Month. I believe that's September. But every month is really Suicide Prevention Month. It should be. It should be, in actuality, okay? Mm-hmm. But it is not.
This month is Black History Month. This month is Black History Month.
Yeah.
The beginning of 2020. Yeah. Suicide rates went down, but it did not go down for the minority community.
So that's why you said it like that. I got you. So for us, it's like suicide prevention.
Right. Every month every day should be a new day where we're going to do more, because procrastination hurts. Yes, we may feel like we don't know, we're behind in the game, okay? People are just after your money or whatnot, but let's add some insurance in there, because people, they don't mind putting up the GoFundMe page. They don't mind going to the government saying you owe me, forgetting that you voted the people in the office, okay? Let's depend on one another and bring the truth and discuss the hard topics. Procrastination hurts. Get your insurance today. I will put a link in there from North Carolina, Texas, a couple of states where I'm licensed in. I can get licensed in other states, okay, and whatnot. I'll put my calendar in. Let's schedule your appointment. Okay, let's get it scheduled. I took enough counseling to help get you in the right direction. We got a guest here, okay? She's available. She's giving you the hard truth. We have Missy. We can't bombard her, but as the late Dr. Marvin Pittman said, it takes a village to raise children, right? And a different way of doing things, and that listening is important. It was hard for me to listen to my children because all the grandparents were deceased, basically. When they were coming along, we had one left, and he was sick, okay? So we can make all the excuses. We have more responsibility as Black women than other women do, or as women of color, whether you're Latin American, Hispanic, all the different cultures, okay?
Right.
More responsibility, and procrastination hurts. Set your priorities. Which P are you going to be? Set your priorities, taking care of yourself, learning to get help when you need it, or procrastination. And like I said, I could daydream, so I could procrastinate in a heartbeat. So I've been there.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know you're so passionate about it. I'm going to let you come back because I don't want to keep the people too long. We want to be considerate. We're going into 15 minutes now. Missy, I'm going to let you come back and speak about anything that you want to speak about, if you want to give some resources. Also, Missy, please, I want you to put in the comment the name of Forever My Asia. If anybody wants to donate or do anything for the organization, put that in there too. Miss Jocelyn, so in your area of expertise, you said you spoke to some people who have gone through this. What is something that you would like to share that you think would be helpful for this topic today?
I would say just be kind to yourself. You're not mind readers. And so you can't carry, or try not to carry, the guilt of that loved one's dying of suicide because it was their choice. And sometimes the truth and the reality can be a hard pill to swallow, but we all have free will. And even though their loss will be felt throughout that survivor's lifetime, just be kind to yourself. And really don't suffer in silence as a survivor, right? Don't let guilt eat you alive. Talk to someone. It's good to talk to family and friends, but family and friends don't have the training. They don't have the therapeutic resources to help you do that deep dive. And oftentimes it is the fact that, mental health workers, we have been trained to be non-judgmental. We accept you for who you are when you come into our offices, right? And because we have no connection to your private life, it's easier to share and be real with with the clinician, a therapist, whatever term you want to use. It's easier to just offload. And Missy said it earlier, sometimes when you come into a therapy session, initially, you just want to talk, right? I don't want you to give me any, not solution, but I don't want you to give me any therapy right now. I don't want to hear about coping skills. I don't want to hear about assessments. I don't want to hear about, tell me how your day was. I just want to offload. I just kind of want to just spew it all out. Now we can look at it. We can kind of paw through it to figure out where I really am. I just need to get all of this emotion out of me. I just need this release. And so my first thing would be, please just get into therapy. You can be born again and go to therapy too, because God made therapists. God gave therapists the experience and the education. So you can pray and ask God to heal me, ask God to show me the way. But guess what? What if the way and the solution is going to therapy? And that's God's answer for you.
Right. I like that. That's good. So I hope that if you're listening tonight that you heard something that can help you. This topic is a topic that is very sensitive. This topic is a very important topic, and it can happen in anyone's home. And so you might have heard something. There may be some signs, and you heard Missy say it, there may not be no signs. You might be ignoring someone. So one of the things that I would say, just from the stories that I've heard from different people, is I would echo what Missy said. Listen. Not only listen to what they say, but listen to what they don't say. Like when they remove themselves a lot and go off and want to be by themselves and they're quiet and they're not saying anything, or their behavior changes. Or if you haven't heard from someone and you know their routine. One of the things I tell people all the time is that we should know our loved ones' routine. We should know our closest friends' routines. Like, so if we talk to someone every day and we don't hear from them, pick up the phone and call them. And if somebody says they're okay, make sure they really mean it. Like you should know their tone. So if they say, yeah, I'm okay, yeah, everything is good. But if they say, yeah, I'm okay. And you be like, oh, no, what's up? What's wrong? I don't like the way you said that. But we have to stop being so busy. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that again. We have to stop being so damn busy. Like everybody on this grind, everybody hustling, everybody got somebody to go, I got to do this, I got to cook, I got to go to the second job, I need to get this, I got this project, I got my business, I need to do this, I got a date. Mm-hmm. Check this out. Mm-hmm. You heard Dr. Jonica say it. We have a responsibility as a parent. Mm-hmm. We have a responsibility as a sibling. We have a responsibility as a friend. We have a responsibility as a Christian. We have a responsibility as a citizen. If we see someone at the job who don't look like it, don't matter. It don't matter. This don't matter. None of that don't matter. We are human. At the end of the day, it hurts to hear when somebody dies. It hurts to hear when somebody took their life. It hurts to hear when somebody's hurting. Because pain is pain, y'all. So we have to care a little bit more. We have to be a little bit more empathetic and sympathetic. And we have to get out of our own selfish ways sometimes and really just take time out and care a little bit for others, you know. And, again, I'm going to give you the opportunity, Missy, if there's any other numbers that you have that you want to share. I know you gave the 1-800-273-TALK for the suicide, but what about the parents? Are there like groups of parents or siblings? Are there places where people can go locally? Is there like a website people can go to? We want to make sure we are providing a resource for people. Again, follow everyone you see. If you don't know how to do it, in the top right by my name, in the top left corner, you'll see the names of everybody on this live. In the top right is Miss Jocelyn with the clinical background. On the bottom left is Miss Jonica that has the business and finance and the insurance background. And Miss Jonica, please put your website there for that consultation that you can do for people to let them know. Because, like you said, you can't afford not to. Yes, Missy, go ahead.
You know, what's so disturbing is that a person could, it's a lot of things. I want to say a lot of things, but it's one person that was common. I don't see the young lady. I think her name was Daru or Daru. I know her, but I don't know if I'm saying her name right. That young lady she wrote something really interesting, but I don't see the comment anymore. She was saying that I think she was going back in and out of therapy and she was getting help, and then the therapist wound up leaving and getting another job. Something like that in the comments. And I wanted to say something, but I don't see her up here anymore. I don't know. Are you up here?
I'm looking for it. I'm looking now. I'll search.
I just wanted the clinician to say something to her. That young lady is.
If you left a comment and it did not get addressed, please look down. There is a button that has a question mark. Put it in the question mark because then it'll stand out and then we can go straight to it. If you have a question, if you have a comment, it doesn't have to be a question. If you have something, if you've been through this, if you attempted suicide or you know somebody, if you're a parent and if you've seen something that works, share. Let's help each other out before we leave.
But yeah, she was asking a question. I can't remember what it was, but I don't see her right now. But that young lady lost her mom. Her mom got, I think, a drive-by shooting. They shot in her house and killed her mom. And I wish she was up here to say what she had to say, because I think she was saying that she's, battling. But I do know a lot of people that I came across that have mental health issues, and it took them about 90 days just to get medical insurance. I'm not talking about when you pass away, the insurance that she has. I'm talking about medical insurance. And it's so sad because I walk these people through it. I know what I'm saying is for a fact. I took them to human services. I try to get them emergency Medicaid. The only way that they would service if I took them to the emergency room, and the emergency room kept them for a 72-hour hold. And then that's how some people were eligible for just, Medicaid. And that's one thing that we have to do as a community, find some more outlets for the, and agencies that will just take, patients that need to be coming. Everybody don't want to be hospitalized. Like the clinician was saying, they just want somebody to talk to, So it's a lot of things there's a lot of work that has to be done with this subject. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. They just push it under a rug, but it's a lot of people that's that need help. Don't have medical insurance at all. Can't afford it. Can't even get it. So it's not just the kids. It's adults. It's a lot of people. I know we can't help everybody.
I'm glad you
but
brought that up.
And I'm sure that's heavy. I'm sure that's heavy for a parent. The parent, that's a lot on the parent not to be able to help their child. It's a lot of the parents that have to go and ask for help. So that becomes depressing to the parent. One of the things I did as a parent was, at first, I never used to tell my children when I had challenges, like, you know how it is, you get your paycheck and you go pay everything, and if they ask for something, I would just tell them no. But as they got older, I started explaining why I said no. I said, look, this is what I had and this is what's left. And I started sharing with them because they need to know. Because, see, parents, I'm going to tell you something else. It becomes stressful to them if we close them out. We need to educate them as they are growing up. We need to share the struggles. We don't need to make everything look like it's so easy, because then it becomes too overwhelming to them, because we make it look easy. My daughter told me that, when she went out there on her own 2-3 later, she said, I understand what you used to say when you used to say, don't be in such a hurry. I just say, all right, you sure you want to leave? I said, you don't have to. She wanted to get out when she was 18. I said, okay. Boy, after 21, 22, she said, her friends called me one day. I said, what's up? She said, Ma, can I tell you something? We were talking about you. We were saying, man, you like Superwoman or something. I said, no, I'm not. I said, trust me, I have had my challenge. She said, but man, you make this thing look easy. I said, well, it's not easy. I said, but you just have to learn. You got to learn, and, you can't be prideful, and you just have to really just do your research, man. And that's the only thing I can say. So listen, I'm not.
But when my mom, when I was growing up, my mom didn't tell me if she had problems with the light bill. She didn't tell me, and I like it that way. I don't like to burden the kids, because a lot of kids have a lot of burden on them. They have to deal with the parents' problems. The parents overload the kids with their problems. The kids have their own problems. So I like it the old way, But I'm gonna say this, but I have to get off because I have to go on another podcast, and they texted me. I hate this pandemic because I miss giving hugs. Hugs is therapeutic.
Yeah, they are.
Virtual hugs to everybody out there that need a hug. I be wanting to hug y'all, but I don't want COVID. I'm not scared of it. I had it, but a lot of people don't want you touching them, and that's one thing that the pandemic took away from us. Yeah. Good. I miss that. I miss walking up to a person, hey, you need a hug, and give them a big old hug. And that takes some of the stress off. So can't even give hugs anymore. So that's so sad, But I just want to talk. I have to. But I'm telling you, I love y'all.
I have to go too. So listen, I thank you so much.
But real quick,
go ahead, Jonica.
Make sure you contact me if you can't get health insurance. There are resources out there. I pointed people to different places. Some people just can't afford health insurance. There's urban ministries. There's Alliance Ministries. There's the Neighborhood Center. and they can coordinate some things for you, even hospitalization. It doesn't have to be psychiatric, it could be medical, but there are resources out there, and I just want people to know.
Okay, and I appreciate that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share this live. I want to thank you for coming through. Once again, follow everybody up in here. I appreciate you for coming through. We know this is not a topic we like to discuss, but we wanted to come through and share this information with you. We hope you heard something that was helpful to you. Please go back and share this with someone you think that was not here today. Again, my name is Crystal Bodie Smith. Miss Jonica and I will be doing more segments on the insurance piece. We'll do that on a regular basis, And then, of course, on Thursdays, I will be allowing people to come and share their stories. But I want to thank you for coming through. Again, my mission is to stir up the gift, instill hope, and save lives. And right now, we sincerely hope that we gave you something that would do one of those three things. God bless you. Keep hope alive. And come back and see us again. Miss Jocelyn, it was such a pleasure to meet you earlier today. Get with me so we can share your story. Jonathan, get with me so we can set up our next segment. And you guys have an amazing evening. Thank you for coming through. Again, I'm Crystal Bodie Smith. I do have another page that I have where I will only have the recordings from these sessions. So I had to create a different page where that page will only have the recordings from these sessions, and I will put that in here and you'll see that information. Just follow me and keep up and you'll know. And have an amazing day. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Good night.
See you Thursday. Bye-bye.